Virgil met with Beyond Stillness 9 times to articulate and publicly share this story of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. To learn more about our programs and services, or to sponsor a guest on their story crafting journey, please visit www.beyondstillness.org or click the link in the episode description.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Welcome to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. I'm Molly Bucola. Today, we meet Virgil, who learned that strength isn't about being untouchable. It's about discovering what you're truly capable of, even when everything changes. From that confusing June evening in 2018 to becoming a beacon of hope in the Pittsburgh Community Aphasia Center, Virgil's story reminds us that sometimes life's greatest purpose emerges not despite our struggles, but because of them. This is a story about lacing up your boots and learning to march forward, not alone, but surrounded by a family that refuses to let anyone settle for less than their best. Today, we begin with a moment of pause to honor the way that wisdom has emerged through recovery. And we give thanks. Virgil lives with aphasia, so his good friend from University of Pittsburgh's Community Aphasia Center, Amy Eidenschink, will read his story. Virgil expresses great gratitude to both Amy and Bob. They are like a brother and sister to him. Now, Part 1, Virgil Robinson's story.
One June evening in 2018, I went out to meet friends and enjoyed 3 to 4 beers, then returned home to watch the Warriors and Lakers game. I dozed off about 9 p.m. and woke up about an hour and a half later. I felt off. Something's not right. Maybe I'm a little drunk. Odd, 3 to 4 beers shouldn't do that to me. I fell back asleep but soon woke up uncomfortable. I had soiled myself completely, out the front and back. At that point, I knew something was wrong. I started toward the stairs, desperately needing a shower. For some reason, I couldn't go up the steps. I sat on them. I would stand back up, try again, stop, sit, and rest. It was so confusing. I would stand to try, maybe get to the next step, stop, sit. It took me an hour to get up the stairs. I dropped my dirty clothes in a pile and just left them there. I didn't have the energy to take them to the wash in the basement. The shower was another obstacle. I tried to turn it on. I'd stop, rest, try again. Then the soap. The whole thing must have taken another hour. I dried myself off and stumbled into a leg of my shorts. One leg. I told myself, I'm going to sleep. Something is really wrong. When I woke, I took my soiled clothes to the top of the basement stairs and just threw them down. I had no energy for another climb. I searched for my keys and finally found them. I made it to the car and I couldn't open the door. I needed to find help. One task after another, everything I tried to do. I fumbled and couldn't do it. About 24 hours after first feeling off, I made my way out the front door and started down the street toward my dad's, 6 houses down the hill. The door opened. I stood there, one short leg on, one off, one shirt sleeve on, one off. When he opened the door, I stood in front of him and asked, "Dad, what's wrong with me?" I was frightened, confused, and frustrated. "Boy, "You had a stroke." He worked for a funeral home, so he had heard stories about strokes, and my mom was a medical coder. He knew what he was looking at. His son had experienced a stroke and was standing in front of him half dressed. He called my mom and the ambulance and got the ball rolling. I arrived at the ICU. It felt like a fog, a dream. It wasn't real. It's gotta be a dream. One friend, not even a close friend at the time, visited me and said, "Nan, you are out of it. I've been praying for you." And that confirmed something was wrong. The third day, my daughter, two sons, and ex-wife drove all the way from South Carolina to Pittsburgh. They announced that I had had a stroke and that I had paralysis and trouble speaking. It dawned on me, this is not a dream. I was in the ICU for 4 days, then transferred to a regular room for about a month and a half before transferring to UPMC Montefiore Rehabilitation Hospital. The therapy regimen was intense. I'm an athlete. I've played football and baseball my whole life. I know what intense training is like. But this was a whole different level. I knew what it felt like to be on top, to do everything, but my body wasn't cooperating. They made me walk and talk. They got me up, even before I could get up on my own. They pushed me hard as Coach Vince. When I was 13 and 14, he was more than a football coach to our team. He taught us about life. He pushed us hard. He was fair and always wanted us to be our best selves. He kept us in line. He was a father-type figure. Those physical, occupational, and speech therapists pushed me like that. They believed in me and pushed me hard. I was there for 2 months until the money ran out. It was good while it lasted. I don't know where I would be without that intense therapy and those therapists. They worked me hard. I wanted to work hard, and they saw that and kept pushing me. They gave me a letter that said, "Virgil, you are one of the best patients ever." Everyone deserves people to believe in them like that. Everyone deserves to be pushed to their limits and supported. Everyone deserves a shot at therapy after a stroke. Everyone deserves the best opportunity to try to recover motion and speech. We all want to be able to engage with society in a meaningful way. Unfortunately, due to lack of funding, some people who experience stroke don't have the opportunities I had. When the money ran out, I went to South Carolina and moved in with my son and his wife. It wasn't my home. I appreciate that they gave me a spot to recover, but I wanted to be on my own. At that point, I wasn't able. My world was upside down, and I couldn't see the new horizon yet. I wondered, where am I going to go from here? Before this moment, I thought I was untouchable. Always healthy, always social. I could do anything. And now I'm stuck in a room, unable to live on my own. I have trouble finding my words, expressing thoughts, feelings, even my needs. I wasn't stable enough to walk on my own. My son is a boxer and didn't like seeing me like that. He said, "Start working out, Dad. That's what you love to do. Go get a membership at the Y." I was excited about the thought. I'm going to do it. That's a plus. The next Monday, I showed up, got a membership, and found my spot. I stretched first. I was frail. I had lost about 50 pounds. I tried the treadmill first because my legs were fine, and then I tried other movements. Really, I just wanted to be back in the gym. From there on out, I went to the gym every day. I wanted to get back to the way I was. I started working out at the Y, then I started walking. Every day I walked. My brother challenged me to a 10K walk, then another. I loved it so much I did a 5K with my ex-wife. I would Uber to the Y every day, and one day I decided I was going to drive on my own. I had a convertible. I taught myself to drive the stick to the Y. A stick requires both hands and both feet. It was a struggle at first, but I did it. I felt like I was free. It was really freeing when I was finally able to move back home to Pittsburgh. About a year after my stroke, my brother suggested that I check out speech pathology at the VA hospital where he worked. I thought, oh boy, here's another flop. I had gone to another stroke group and it didn't seem to fit me. I had very low expectations. But that day, I sat in Jim and Mary's office. Then Lori, the speech pathologist, joined us. Right away, I knew this would be different. I could tell they were genuine. I've always trusted my gut. They listened and asked questions. They gave me an opportunity to speak and engage. It was more of a conversation this time. I left that room ready to do what they asked me to do. I was ready to work hard and knew they could handle it. They pushed me hard. Mary's demeanor was like Coach Vince. She expected more of me and knew I could do better. Deep down, I knew too. They believed in me. I showed up at every appointment. They knew I craved more. One day they told me about the University of Pittsburgh's Aphasia Community Center. Fred and Tommy, other survivors in the room, said, "You'll love it. They have a kitchen and we made donuts last time." That sounded delicious and fun. I trusted Jim and Mary, but for some reason, I procrastinated trying the other program. I didn't know people there. That is so not me. Throughout my life, I've been outgoing. I talk with strangers all the time. But for some reason, I kept putting it off. Every time I went to the VA, they would ask, "Did you go to the Community Aphasia Center?" And I had to answer no. So finally, after all that, I went. The next time I saw Jim and Mary at the VA hospital, my survivor friend announced, "Virgil made it to the University of Pittsburgh Community Aphasia Center." They held me accountable. I realized that's something I can give others. When I finally found the University of Pittsburgh's Community Aphasia Center, I found my second family. The program director, Chrissa, shows us where our boots are and how to put them on. When we get together as the Community Aphasia group, we have a purpose. Time and time again, Chrissa puts us first. She is concerned about us, our needs, hopes, and dreams. She sets the tone. We know that when we show up, we are cared for, we are heard. We also have a responsibility to listen to and care for each other. Chrissa helps us with our appointments, makes sure we have rides, checks in to make sure everyone is safe and feeling okay. We've learned to do that for each other, too. We don't do any projects unless we talk about them as a group first. We are a family. Chrissa proposes ideas and we put them into action. We don't move forward with anything unless it's something we as a group decide we want to do. When she has an idea, she runs it by the whole family. She always asks, "What do you think?" I just laugh knowing what's coming next. Case in point, our group member Bridget would never go to the movies because she's in a wheelchair. Then came our first movie adventure. Bridget was emphatic that she would only go to the movies if she got popcorn. So one evening, Chrissa and 8 of us showed up at the theater to watch Wicked. Bridget's husband brought her the biggest size popcorn. There was no way to contain it. She sat the popcorn bowl on her lap and it was overflowing. I love Bridget to death, and she pushed herself to go to the movies. She encouraged all of us. We were proud of her and ourselves. We are there for each other always. It felt so satisfying to go to the movies. We can do anything we put our minds to. Initially, Bridget thought she was in a wheelchair, so she couldn't go to the movies. But she did. We all did. And this fall, we plan to go to the movies together once a month. Chrissa showed us that we could put our boots on. For another example, Tyrone would never go to a restaurant because he thought he couldn't order on his own due to aphasia. But less than a month ago, we all showed up at a restaurant to encourage Tyrone to do so. We believed he could. And guess what? He did it. Tyrone ordered noodles on his own. We all laughed and cheered. We were overjoyed. He put his boots on. We all did. We have so much fun together. This year, Chrissa arranged tickets to the second annual Pirates game, and we all showed up to tailgate before the game. We ate chicken wings, salad, donuts, cookies, cake, and hoagies. There were about 35 people from our aphasia community that showed up. We talked about the game, but really, it was a big party. We were all wearing the same colors, black and gold. I loved the banter. All of this brings us together. We enjoy each other. We support each other. But we also know that Krissa isn't just helping us put our boots on for our own good. She pushes us. She emphasizes that we are here for each other, but we have a responsibility to show others they can put their boots on too. Our group is about advocacy. Krissa is always trying to find a better way. She doesn't take shortcuts. This reminds each of us that there is always a better way. Living with aphasia is hard, and there's always a better way to go about life. It's too easy to sit there, stop trying, and remain silent. That's not an option for us. We need each other. Krissa shows us how important it is for us to put our boots on. We are doing this for ourselves, each member of our group, and for people who live in aphasia throughout all of Pittsburgh, actually the country. I hear some of our work, like our stories on Beyond Stillness, have spread to other countries too. Now that I've been a part of this, now that I have a purpose, shortcuts aren't an option. My boots are on and I am marching. I think back to Coach Vince, to each coach I've had in my life, and each therapist I've had since my stroke. I'm going to be my best self. Like Krissa, I can make a difference. We are doing stuff. God is saying, I have a plan for you all. Put your boots on, let's do this. My job is to show up. When I first arrived at the program, there were 13 or 14 people, and now there are over 50 of us. One big family. I learn something from someone every time we meet. You'd think that living with aphasia for 8 years, I'd be an expert, but I have more and more to learn. Looking back, I realize my story isn't really about the stroke. It's about what happens when people believe in you and push you to be better than you think you can be. From Coach Vince to those rehab therapists, from Jim and Mary to Krissa, from my son telling me to get back in the gym, to Bridget showing us we can all go to the movies. It's always been about people refusing to let each other settle for less. I had people who wouldn't give up on me, and eventually, I learned not to give up on others. God has given me strength in my moments of weakness. Every single person who pushed me, believed in me, and held me accountable, they were showing me how to lace up those boots. Now I get to do the same. That's purpose. Everyone deserves that. I hope to offer meaning and purpose to others. I spent so many years thinking I was untouchable, that I could do anything. Turns out I was right, but not in the way I thought. I can't do everything the same way I used to, but I can do something better. I can help others discover they're stronger than they know. My boots are on, I'm ready to march, and I am not marching alone.
Storytelling empowers us to share our experiences in a way that invites others to reflect on their own. To close, here's a prompt to spark dialogue with yourself and others. Who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself? How did they show you that you were stronger than you thought? We'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube at Stories After Stroke. Links are in the episode description.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show.
Thank you for listening to Part 1, Virgil Robinson's story. Stick with us for Part 2, Virgil Robinson's interview. Remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review so that others can find these powerful stories too. To learn more about our nonprofit organization's programs and services, please visit www.beyondstillness.org or find the link in our episode description. Together, we empower stroke survivors to articulate and publicly share their stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope.